And just so that you guys are aware, my name is Maggie. I am the assistant director here for MHSEL, and with me today also is the director and my partner in crime, Ryan Casey.
Morning.
All right, Ryan, do we want to go ahead and get started?
Yeah, I think so. We've tried this webinar at all different times of the day just to seeing what sticks. I don't think we have a ton of people on today, but that's okay. A lot of good info either way, and hopefully you guys will find it beneficial to trying to get something started at your school, whether it's this spring or next fall. So let's go ahead and take it away, Maggie.
All right, awesome. And just before we get into the meat of the presentation, we wanted to remind you that there is a Q&A portion in Zoom that you can pop in questions. Ryan and I will do our best to answer those as we go throughout the webinar. Use the chat for any ideas or comments, and then we will follow up with the recording of the webinar and the slide deck today so that you have everything in one place. And then just so that you know a little bit of who we are and how we're operated, the league is the Michigan High School Esports League. The platform partner is Play Versus, and we are hosted by the Michigan Association of Secondary School Principals and the Michigan Association of Student Councils and Honor Societies. So you might hear from us, oh, it's the MASSP League or the Play Versus League. It's all MHSEL. And just a couple quick facts about the league. We are varsity esports, so that if your school does want to be able to offer a varsity letter to your students, you are able to. We are in our 4th year, going into our 8th season. We were established in fall of 2020. We do 2 seasons a year, both fall and spring. And we are now offering 10 different game titles. We work with an advisory board of the best coaches, esports coaches from around the state that help us put together a mission and vision for our league, so that these are our guiding principles as we go throughout each season and year to year. We want to provide, obviously, a safe, competitive, and curricular environment for the student athletes to compete in their game titles, but we're also looking at building those critical skill sets, working on exploring career paths, and contributing to school culture, because a lot of students have never, that are involved in esports, have never been involved in anything before in their school, like whether that be band, choir, sport, or a leadership group. It doesn't matter. Sometimes it's their very first time contributing to their school culture. So that is what our goal is and working towards, and trying to be the elite high school esports league in Michigan. This is just a video. We're gonna play just a short clip of it to highlight our fall championships and our past Explore Esports conference that we held this fall.
And I'll chime in real quick here. So I'm a former high school teacher, former high school assistant principal and principal. And so for some of you who are unfamiliar with esports and how it works, for me, this was kind of like robotics for me when I was a principal. We started a first robotics program. I saw the kids tinkering on stuff in the rooms every day. It looked like they were having fun, enjoying themselves. Typically kids who weren't playing volleyball, track, basketball, football, whatever, right? But I didn't get it until I went to my first robotics event in a gym, music playing, people wearing, the school colors and spirit wear, high-fiving each other. People are running up and down the floor with their school flags, right? It was a competitive, fun, exciting environment. And for a lot of people, I would say that's very similar to esports, right? You might see the kids playing the games in the room after school because it's not played in a gym with spectators typically, right? But then when you get a chance to come to an in-person event, and we put on a lot of in-person events throughout the year, you get to watch the kids compete and thrive, really. And you get the excitement of calling timeouts and tied matches and going into overtime and high fives, right? And so this just gives you a quick little glimpse of that.
So we held this at Oakland University. We've been partners with them since we started back in 2020, and they've been absolutely wonderful to work with. We've had over 18 different college esports programs that were represented at the event, and they were able to interact with students and coaches. It was absolutely a wonderful experience for them. Detroit Pistons GT was there, as well as 26 Rising and professional esports companies, as well as a variety of different There's the best presentation happening right now by Ryan Casey. All of these were tailored to different, each breakout session was tailored to, whether it was for students or for adults, and also whether it was for experienced players or coming in and wanting to know. This is what it's all about. So when people are able to watch esports live, we had a college match showcase happen between Rochester and Oakland, and it gets really exciting to be able to have that.
Yeah.
For instance, here is where we're playing some semifinal matches for us, and you get the spectators, you get your parents and other students that are there just excited, supporting kids. They get super pumped up about a win. And that's what it's all about. And one of the things that we very much encourage and we require at our events is sportsmanship and, shaking hands and, adequate behavior and everything like that. And for a lot of these kids, this is the highlight of their year. We had people from all the way from Marquette come down, all the way from Detroit, from the west side, and from Mona Shores, all around the state that came to the in-person event. Awesome.
No, all right, there we go.
All right, so for fall, this is just a couple quick facts. We had 86 schools, 465 teams. We only had 9 game titles this fall season. We added a 10th game title for the spring season, which we will dive into a little bit deeper later on in the presentation. And in the fall season, we had 6 of the game titles were state leagues. So with that being said, you are playing Michigan schools. Only Michigan schools are playing Michigan schools for state leagues. The other 3 game titles were regional. So it was Eastern Regional. You're playing schools that are also from Michigan, but also from other states as well. And then just from season to season, we have seen tremendous growth. And already for the spring season, we are hitting our numbers from our previous spring season, and we're expecting to just surpass those numbers as well. So we're really excited for the growth. I'm going to pass it over to Ryan to cover this portion of the presentation now.
So it's great job, Maggie, kind of setting us up there. So I would encourage you along the way, feel free to throw something in the chat or the Q&A or raise your hand and we can open it up so you can ask a question. I don't want to overdo it with info and not give you a chance to get something that's burning on your mind. So feel free to stop us along the way and we will answer those questions. So this really kind of focuses on our platform partner Playversus and how it works working with them. So a lot of, a couple different things here that we will cover that you'll want to know when you are actually ready to take the next step and, set up the free account and start thinking about who your coaches are and your teams and what games you want to play on. So Playversus is a leader in this space. They are out of California. They work with over half of the different states in the country to be able to provide high school esports leagues. And they are truly leaders in this space. Having an esports program is going to help your students be able to, one, get some sort of competitive experience from other, students in other schools all across the state. We have the data and research to back this up from student surveys of how it's developed teamwork skills, leadership skills, communication skills, social emotional learning improvements, digital citizenship. All these things increase through the role of esports. I tell principals all the time and coaches all the time, let's hold these kids to the same high standard that we hold our traditional athletic kids, right? They have to be in school. They can't be absent. They can't be sent down to the principal's office getting in trouble. They have to be passing classes. And if you hold them to that standard, they will absolutely hit that, and they will reach those levels just like our traditional extracurricular athletes and participants. And there are opportunities for scholarships and career paths, which we'll talk about in just a second. So Maggie mentioned earlier, we have 2 different seasons. So we just wrapped up our fall. That ran from September to early December. Spring is right around the corner. That's going to run from about mid-February to end of April, early May. And that's 2 weeks of preseason matches, which preseason is optional. We strongly encourage that you participate in the preseason because it's a great way to work out like who's going to be on your team, who's going to have what role on your team, and probably even more importantly, to make sure all your tech and your internet and your network stuff is working properly. You get 8 weeks of a regular season. Within that 8 weeks, you do get a bye week that you can pick and choose where you want to place it. Obviously in the springtime, on which everybody uses their bye week for their spring break, but depending on how it falls, you can move that around. And then there's anywhere from about 2 to 4 weeks of postseason playoffs. Typically, only about 50% of the schools that are in a league will make it to the playoffs. So about a 50% threshold. And I skipped over it at the very beginning, really important. Although most schools participate in both seasons, you do not have to participate in both. They are not both required. So, one of our coaches at, I think, Northview out of Grand Rapids, he is the band director, right? They don't participate in fall because he is busy doing marching band season and all that sort of stuff. So they play with us just in the spring, for example, and vice versa, depending on, your esports athletes, how busy they are.
Yep.
And I'll keep going, Maggie.
Your capacity.
Yep. Just interrupt if there's a question you want me to answer. Stop, Maggie, if you want to do that. So a lot of info on this screen. And again, you'll have this slide deck, so you can go back through and double check all this information, but we have 10 game titles now this spring. All games start at 4 p.m. local time. Sometimes when you go to sign up, you might see one is labeled as a Central League and it's 5 o'clock, but that's Central Time. Like if we have enough Michigan schools, we reform our league, so we're only Michigan, and all of our games are at 4 p.m. Tuesdays is League of Legends, Splatoon 3, and the new one, which kids have been begging us for like 3 years now, is Valorant. And you'll see it tells you on each one of these cards how many players are needed and what devices used. So League of Legends is 5 players, each on their own PC. Splatoon is 4 players. They use Nintendo Switch. Some of the Nintendo Switch titles, just so you know, kind of range and how many switches you need. For Splatoon, either each player wants their own or they'll do a split screen, so 2 kids per 1 device. Valorant, another one that requires 5 players on a PC. So those are your Tuesday games. Wednesday games, we have Smash Brothers. It's probably our most popular game. I'm anticipating over 200 teams this spring on Smash. That's a 3-player game on the Nintendo Switch. What's cool about that game is you only need 1 Switch for your entire team. They just kind of like pass the controller down when it's the next teammate's turn. NBA 2K this season is an individual game, so 1 kid on 1 team, and they play that on a PS4. You can play it on a PS5 as long as you have the PS4 version of the game this year. I think everything's switching to PS5 next year, by the way. Overwatch is another 5-player game on the PC, similar to Valorant and League of Legends. And then on Thursday, we have Rocket League. That's a 3-player team. That's played on PC or console. So that's considered a cross-platform game. You can play on, again, PC, Nintendo Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, whatever. Mario Kart 8, that is 4 players on a Nintendo Switch. Most kids are going to want to have their own Switch for that, or at most only 2 kids. You can do 4 people on one Switch, and it divides it up, you know, like into a quad screen. Your kids are going to moan about not being able to see their guy on a quad screen, just so you know. Oh, whoops, I went too fast. Shoot. Can I take it back? Sorry.
Yes,
There
you
you go.
can. And it does look like we have a question in the chat from Michael. How do schools address concerns that exist regarding perceived link between video games and violence, as this concern has been raised in some of our initial meetings?
Great question, Michael. So a couple things. First of all of the games we offer use that ESRB game rating. So our games are all rated either E for everyone or T for teen. So they, by that standard, are suitable for high school age students, right? Some of them you might kind of consider, it looks like it's a little more of a first person kind of action, tactical hero shooter game type of thing. There's no blood. All that type of stuff is all turned off. The other talking point I typically share with coaches or principals who have board, members asking this question, or superintendents, whoever, parents, is all of these games are utilized and played competitively at the collegiate level. So Michigan has 28 different college esports programs, and they all play these games, right? So the question is, if we choose not to play one of these games, and you absolutely can, just because there are 10 games doesn't mean schools have to play all 10. You might only play one game and have 5 teams or playing that one game, or vice versa. I would ask, are we doing our students a disservice by not offering a game title in which that they can have an opportunity to go to college for down the road? That's my number one thing. So again, number 2, a lot of the games, the skill has nothing to do with, it's not the skill of defeating another character or player or shooting or whatever. There's so much strategy and communication needed to be successful in the game. That's really what the strategy's on. And so when you get a chance to watch a team work in action to figure that stuff out, you'll see, oh, this has nothing to do with, catching that character or fighting that character or shooting or whatever. It has everything to do with planning out this approach or strategy. So hopefully that answers some. Last 2 games, and I'll jump into more questions here. Hearthstone is like a card game, kind of like Magic, the Gathering, if you remember that. That's played on a PC or an app. That's a 3-player team. And then Madden is similar to NBA 2K, 1-person team, played on the PS4. Those are all the games. How many players? If you have more questions about how much equipment you need for each, I am more than happy to answer those questions at the end or following up at a different time.
And just as a heads up, for that slide, I have linked the page on playversus.com to each of those icons. When you do receive the slide deck, you can click on those individual pages that will give you more information about each individual game.
Awesome. Thanks, Maggie.
Yep.
So again, why we use PlayVersus, right? So they have all of these games for us, and they all have, by just so you know, official partnership rights to offer these games. It's not the same as copyright showing a movie in school that you don't own, but publishers have certain requirements. Like you can't just, like Nintendo says, you can't just go start your own Mario Kart League and have prizes and trophies and without their approval. Otherwise, they'll try and shut you down. Through PlayVersus, these are all legitimate. We have authorization to run these leagues and call it a league and call it having championships and that sort of thing. So that's really, really important to us to make sure that we're doing this the right way. You can see they've had 16,000 schools on the platform over the years, 603,000 total users. They have a 95% customer satisfaction rating. They have a tech team on standby on match day if you're running into a technical issue. I think the stat is most of those are resolved within 4 minutes when you submit a ticket. So that is the reason why we partner with them for this. PlayVersus also has a unified league. If your school has a unified league through Special Olympics, we know it's really popular with like basketball and track and some other sports. They can do Mario Kart and Rocket League through Esports. And it's, again, all of this is free, right? Whether it used to only be unified that was free, but everything's free now. And so it's just a really cool opportunity for a group of students in your school that we're always looking to give them more opportunities. So check the chat real quick. Oh,
we do have another
yep.
question. I see that games like NBA 2K and Madden are listed as PS4. Is this typical to limit participation in these types of multi-platform games to Sony versus Microsoft or PC?
A little bit. A lot of it is just their own ability to play with the other platform, because some are cross-platform and they can play anything on any device, right? And others are like you can only play the PS4 against other PS4 folks, and so that's part of the reason there. I will point out, so with consoles, some things to think about depending on how many resources you have dedicated to this. I have principals that go out and they'll go to GameStop and buy used PlayStations and Nintendo Switches. We do have a way, depending on how many are left, if you sign up and you are a Nintendo team, you're going to do a Nintendo title, I'm usually able to get you 1 or 2 Switches for free to get started. But it's kind of a first come, first served basis. So when you're ready, let me know and I'll see what I can do. And we have some schools that let kids bring in their devices from home. So the kid will bring in their PS4, or they'll bring in their Switch. They check in with their coach before school starts. After school, when it's time to practice, they get it. For all of this, you absolutely need to loop in your IT administrators, right? You're going to really rock their world because they spend their whole life shutting this stuff down. And then you're going to say, hey, that stuff we don't want kids to doing from 7:30 to 3. I want them to do it at 3. So keep that in mind.
Yep.
Signing up is really easy. There's YouTube videos and all this stuff, and there's all these links in the slide deck. I'm not going to play it all, but you basically go create your account. You identify your school, whether it's in the system or not. If it's not, it'll get added after like a day or so. And then you can start actually creating a team, figuring out what games you're going to play, and then start adding kids, to those teams. And so a really important step in all this process, and we have all these resources at the end, is you're going to want to let student demand take you, where you're going to go in terms of participation for the season, right? So I wouldn't say like, oh, I think we want to do Smash. I'm going to sign us up for 4 Smash teams. And you find out all your kids want to play Overwatch and not Smash. There's a survey. I would survey kids, find out, let them know what game it's going to get played on, all right? So it doesn't clash with their schedule, and really figure out what games you're going to need. You're almost like a mini athletic director, because you're managing all these separate games, which is like their own little sport. So you got to figure out what sports are we participating in, who's the coach of each, what kids are participating in each sport or game title, and then you'll start adding them in from there. They'll have information about the actual spring 2024 season on there. It'll give you all of the dates, when you can use your break for your bye week, that sort of thing. Coaches. Obviously, if you have a staff member on your team that's a gamer, that's great. If not, it's no big deal, right? We have so many coaches that do this just because kids went to their room and begged them, right? Said, Mr. So-and-so, Miss So-and-so, will you please be our esports coach? Or they're like, I don't know any of these games. No big deal. The kids know what they're doing. They'll move cords around and set up equipment and get things rocking and rolling. We need an adult to provide a safe space, to check behavior, to communicate information from the league or from Play Versus to the kids, to the other team, check in with the other coach. They'll learn stuff along the way. And there are a ton of resources out there related to the rule books for all the games, so you know how many kids you need for this and that. There's game day protocols that walk you through the checklist of what you need to do on game day to prepare for your match. And so it can be a teacher's a great person. We have assistant principals and principals do it. We have parents do it. You're going to need to have somebody, pass the background check for your district. They have to pass a background thing for Play Versus if they're not a school employee. We do have older, college age brothers and sisters that do it, that are avid gamers that come back. So all those are absolutely an option. I know Maggie dropped a link in there for the new coaches meeting coming up soon. So we will invite people out to that with one of our super coaches.
Okay. Everything
related to your season and schedule is posted in that platform. It's really, really slick. You can even do a little bit of scouting depending on the stats available for the game. They use a smart scheduler system, it's called. So they only take people that are able to, they kind of match you up a little bit based on your ability level, right? So if you're struggling, you had kids not showing up, you had to forfeit, or you're just, you're learning the ropes, you're not doing really well, they're not going to pit you against our returning state champions that are undefeated, right? They're going to try and find you appropriate leveled teams to make it as competitively balanced as possible. And there is a new feature in there. It's called Rivalry Week. So as you're looking through the different schools that are participating in the game title and you see your crosstown rival, you can sign up and then reach out and have them sign up for you, and they'll make sure you guys play each other during the season. So it's a fun little opportunity. We have coaches who do that, and then they figure out a way to do it in person still. They'll travel to each other's school and play the game. So it's a really cool opportunity.
Yep.
Typically about an hour before the game time, so around 3:00, they encourage students and coaches to make sure they're ready to go, kind of practicing, checking in with their teams, checking in with the other team. There's a little chat lobby for your match on the game days. You can see kind of a picture there. And it just helps letting them know, like, hey, I might be 10 minutes late today. We had an assembly run long. No biggie. It just helps make sure that everyone's in the know. Is there a conference code or something that's similar that we put into players that schedules us with more local teams? Or is it also... All right, good question, Spencer. So again, the matchmaking will not do it as of yet based on geography. So it is kind of cool, I'll be honest, to see like when I see Marquette taking on a team from Southeast Michigan, because when else is that ever going to happen, right? Almost never. If you want to make sure you get a local team nearby, you'd want to use that rivalry feature. We are looking into trying to figure out divisions this spring for some of our game titles that we have enough teams to do it. And it might be based on geography or regions or kind of who's new to esports and who's experienced and returning. So that sort of thing. Otherwise, again, it's that smart schedule kind of has you sign up or matches you up based on ability. So hopefully that answers your question. Again, there's a whole list of things that'll run you through the game day experience, and at the end, and reporting scores and reporting who won or was it a forfeit, that sort of thing.
And if I remember correctly from everything our Play versus partners have told us, the winning coach is the one that enters in the score and reports the win as well into the platform.
So key dates and pricing. Well, pricing is fun because it's free now. So this used to be a per student charge, and now it is free. So we're really, really excited about that. And that's unlimited, guys. So that's up to your capacity that you can handle. Registration closes on February 16th. That would be at the very end of preseason. I would suggest getting registered prior to February 5th because that is the week's preseason starts. The regular season, week 1, starts on February 19th. Playoffs will start April 15th once everybody's absolutely back from spring breaks. We are still finalizing our in-person state championship date and location. We typically do these at college campuses. We're going to get that date squared away and location before the season starts so everybody is familiar. If you are a new school, which is most of the people on this, obviously you can reach out to Maggie and myself, and we have our contact info on here. We do have a specific person from Play Versus who will help answer questions. You will probably see Eric when you go to create your account. He'll probably reach out to see if you'd like a one-on-one consultation to kind of walk you through the steps over the course of a half hour. I'd strongly encourage you take them up on that. He's also the person that I reach out to say, hey, do we have any Nintendo Switches for this school? They signed up and they want a Smash team or a Mario Kart team, that sort of thing. All of these things are resources. Yeah, all links. You can see I'm not going to click on them all, but these are all links on all the different items we talked about that you can share with your coach or your team. There's a parent guide. There's how do we scrimmage. So there's a chance some of you are going to say, something, Ryan, I'm not quite ready for spring. We're going to wait till fall. No problem. You can still create an account this spring. It's all free. And you can just scrimmage. You can sign up to scrimmage. You might not scrimmage against a Michigan school. You might scrimmage against a team from Ohio or New York, but you can say, hey, we're a beginner, we're intermediate, we're advanced. We want to play at this time, Eastern Standard Time, on this day. Who can do it? And then you'll get a sign up. And so that's a really cool way to do it. Michigan, I think we have a lot of super coaches here, but one of our official super coaches through Play Versus is Sherry St. Clair. She works at Linden Schools. They are defending Rocket League champions 2 times now. So she's a great, great resource for us. And she loves helping other people get started and answering questions. And as Maggie already noted, we have that new coaches meeting coming up anyway. So there's a chat feature in the dashboard. If you have questions, that'll link you to articles, tons and tons of resources. All the rule books to every single game is on this slide.
Game day
The
protocols.
game day protocol for every single game is on this slide. So really hitting you with lots of info. It's a lot to soak in. So Maggie's gonna take over the reins again and just talk a little bit about what makes our league unique, which makes us stand out from the rest, and some cool things we have going on this spring. And then I will watch the chat for questions. Maggie, go ahead.
All right, awesome. Do you mind? There we go. Why MHSEL? What makes us unique? Well, so I'm not going to play all of this, but Chris White has been part of our league since its inception in 2020 back in the fall, and it's a great testimonial about the experience that his students have at in-person events.
The Michigan High School Esports League has made an incredible difference to the students in Novi High School. Over the last 2 years of coaching esports at Novi, I have watched students grow and develop confidence, compassion, and leadership skills that they can use for the rest of their lives. I think I can safely speak for every esports coach in Michigan that competing in Michigan High School Esports League has been an extremely validating experience for so many of our students, allowing them to compete and represent their high schools in an environment where they were already deeply passionate and committed. I could not be more proud for what my students have accomplished, which this year was a state championship. Go Michigan High School Esports League. Keep doing what you're doing. We love it.
So Chris
There you go.
Chris also sits on our advisory board, and he has provided us a lot of insights and helping us grow and become what we have become. So we are very thankful for him. Some special events that we held this past fall. We held our first time ever, the Shoutcaster Showdown. So anytime that, you hear about, during football games, you listen to people do play-by-plays and color commentary about the game. Well, we have that for esports too. So we actually held a competition for students. We held finals up at Ferris State. It was absolutely great. We had four finalists that we brought up there, did in person. The kids absolutely loved it. We were able to provide a scholarship to the winner. It was a great experience for all of those involved. And at the same time, we also held a Turkey Time Smash tournament with, it was our largest one yet, with I think it was 16 teams total. And it was just an awesome day of competition as well. Ryan can speak to this one, but this has gone viral. You probably have seen it on the web. This is something that happened in Michigan. I'll let Ryan comment on it.
So a really strong program in our state comes from Detroit Catholic Central. And they were able to put on an esports match, just a fun scrimmage against Dakota High School in Rocket League, but they did it as a pep assembly at the end of the day. So the former principal in me, right, thinks about all the different pep assemblies I've run and how many times we do the same old thing. Let's get out the tug of rope and we'll do the different, and that's fun. But wait till you see kids go bonkers. This shows you how many kids are into esports. This went viral on ESPN's TikTok, Rocket League's TikTok, some global broadcasters, pretty cool.
Like, this is what esports is all about.
Did the fight song. They went nuts. It was the loudest assembly I've ever been to in my life, and I've done a lot of them. So just really cool. It shows you the power of esports and kids and what they're interested in.
These are just a couple of photos from our Explore Esports conference. You also saw some highlights of that in the video earlier in this presentation. as well as our semifinals and championships that we held at Oakland University this past fall. One piece that was really cool that I'd like to highlight is our winner from the Shoutcaster Showdown. We actually invited to Shoutcast. Ryan's using his mouse to point him out here. It's Michael Geis. He's from Taylor High School. He's a senior this year. And he was able to shoutcast not one game that we asked him to, but he ended up on the fly shoutcasting 2 of our finals matches with the Oakland University esports team, which was really cool. So this spring, this is what it really makes us stand out, and that makes us a little bit different than other leagues, is we try to give as many opportunities for in-person competition for students that, you know, are in addition to what we have during the regular season, right? So for instance, we have our in-person and virtual tournaments that we are working on. Pistons GT, we are doing that. That has just been finalized this week. We will be publishing information, and any high school in Michigan can play. It'll be a Rocket League tournament, and there will be a prize of $8,000 for the winning school to go to their esports program. We will be having a Super Smash tournament with Divine Child in March, as well as we are working with the Grand Rapids Griffins and Grand Valley State University for a Rocket League tournament as well. And then we are also doing a big thumb tournament also. All of those are happening in March, so stay tuned for additional information on those coming. Again, we will have an in-person state championship. We will have a minimum of the top 3 game titles that are the most popular in the state, that are state league game titles. And we will get that out prior to season starting. New coaches webinar. We try to host virtual strategy sessions depending from season to season. It'll be either via Twitch or Zoom, just about, you know, different topics, whether it's a game strategy session or about, you know, healthy gamer habits. We also have an intern currently that is a college intern that is helping us with a variety of different things. So great opportunities happening. There is also a free online course for Introduction to Esports, some of the same information that we've covered today. But if you need sketches and are interested, there's some information there as well. If you have a middle school that you want to start building your pipeline to your high school esports program, we do have a middle level esports program. It is called MHSEL Prep. Our contact there is Nina Davis. She is absolutely amazing. You can contact her at nina@massp.com. This is something that we like to, you know, end our webinars with is, you know, esports, it doesn't matter the results. When students compete, school culture wins. And then does anybody have any questions? And there's some information about our contact information for Ryan and I. Ryan and I also do a lot of presentations. We meet with schools, we meet with boards, we meet with different principals, admins. We are happy to hop on a call if needed to help talk through anything that you are working through in your school to help get your program started and up and running.
Yeah, we threw a ton of info at you. I'm really hoping you can join in the spring. You know, if you can get your IT people on board, really, in my opinion, that's the biggest barrier sometimes is just, can you get the technology set up? You absolutely have kids that want to play these games. They're already playing these games. We're just trying to offer them an opportunity to do it and represent their school and be part of their school community for the first time, right? So that would be the biggest thing. And there's documents, and maybe you can find it and drop in it real quick, or I can email it out when I send the follow-up to this, actually. There's a network hardware spec sheet that goes through each game, what's needed to play it. Chromebooks don't play real well with this stuff, I'll be honest. But if you have an old media center that has desktops in it, or a computer lab still, even if they're a little older, they're probably fine. Or maybe they just need like a $50 graphics card update or something. The console way is a good way to go. Nintendo Switches are pretty easy to use and get started with, because then you only need to plug them into a TV or something. But I would get working with your IT folks as soon as possible to make sure that you can get the ports opened up so they can connect accounts and get their devices on the network. I'd start surveying kids to see who's interested in playing what. Typically what we see is like they'll do an interest form. They'll go, yeah, there's enough interest. I think we can do this. We'll have a meeting during lunch, right? Or after school or at the end of the day. And you're going to want to be very clear and talk to the kids and let them know that, hey, typically during the week, remember all our games are Tuesday through Thursday. Most of the time, most schools have their practice on Monday, and then whatever game title they play on, they play that day. So you're requiring kids. This is not like a drop in and just hang out and play games with your friends, right? You are expected to be here on Mondays from 3 to 4:30, and then on your match day from this time to that time. And so you will lose a few kids once you explain that. So it's really important that you take the time to explain that. Now, if all of your teams play only on Thursday, there's no rule that says Monday has to be your practice day. Any day can be your practice day outside of the game title day you're supposed to play. So, but that's how most, when they have quite a few teams, they're probably playing Monday through Thursday in some capacity. So those would really be your next steps. And then, have them come in, have them start practicing, and then they're going to have a blast. We have a lot of schools that start working on trying to figure out how to stream their game so they can share it with friends and family to watch online. We have a great apparel partner that can design jerseys for you and hoodies and shirts and bandanas and pants and all sorts of cool stuff. And you can actually create your own online store for free. And then the profits you make out of selling stuff to friends and family and peers and whatnot goes back to your program. So we have a lot of cool stuff going on, which I can share at a later time. But Maggie and I are going to hang out for a few minutes and just let you guys ask questions on the chat. You want to raise your hand, I can unmute you if you want to just ask a question. We really appreciate your time for hanging out with us today. Yes, Spencer, smart, wise. Come with treats for your text, because I've gone through this process and it's a long fight. It's come from the IT side, especially if your IT and your web filters are managed through your ISD or your reset at the county level. Now you've got a whole nother chain of command you got to deal with. And so that is very, very true, Spencer. Butter them up, coffee, treats, whatever it takes.
Yep. Great point. Thank you for that reminder.
See if they want to be a coach or an assistant coach. This way, when they know you need something, they're going to be more inclined to get it done faster. That's going to do it for our time today. Again, we'll get you the recording. We'll get you the slide deck. If you got to head out to your next thing, go ahead. Again, Maggie and I will hang tight for a few more moments in case anyone has questions. Would love to have you join this spring, if not next fall. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.